Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining the show today is Dr. Carl Robinson, CEO and Chairman of the Greater Dallas Community Development Corporation, CDC. Thank you for coming on and talking with us again.
It's great to be here again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a little while.
It's been a while.
But we're glad that you're back today.
We're back.
And we're talking about youth, which I love because it makes me feel like I can connect and I still remember some things. So that's kind of a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Actually, it is.
It's fun, and youth have great energy, and we're just really glad that people are out there looking out for young people. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. The Greater Dallas Community Development Corporation, CDC, tell us what it is that you focus on.
Well, amazingly, over 19 years ago, and coincidentally, it was about youth. When we went in to look at becoming a nonprofit, that was our main focus, and it's dealing. And the CDC has been around a long time in its work, but it's in its generation a little over 19 years, and we've been very successful at helping youth, families, fragmented families, at-risk communities, even homelessness. We've been, yeah.
That's a great thing that you're doing then, and we just thank you again from the community that you've been around that long, that you've focused on the youth. Today we're going to talk about the youth factor. What is that?
Wow, the youth factor. The youth factor addresses the issues of our youth. It addresses the statistics, and it also addresses what we can do as a community to help our youth to deal with the pervasive issues that they're having. Our youth are having a lot of challenges in front of them, and I think with the proper support, we can help our youth find their way. So that teen or youth factor is all about reaching out and understanding where the youth are coming from, what they're dealing with, and how to help them make those progressions.
How big is the problem of youth in our country today? Why is there a problem with our youth? What is going on? What are the big issues that they're facing?
Wow, that's a great question. You asked all the right questions.
Thank you.
I think the first thing, let's look at our generations. When you look at the generation of the busters, you look at the baby boomers, you look at the Generation X, Y, Generation Z. Generation Z are normally 0 to 9 years old. We don't know a lot about them just yet, but we know about the environment that they're being raised in.
Yes.
Look at Generation Y, which is called the Echo Boomers, or it's better known as the Millennials.
Yes.
And they're generally in the age group from 9 to 20, 21 years old. And so when you talk about a youth, you're talking about not adults, but not children. So from the ages of about 10 years old all the way up to the ages of 19 and 20 is considered to be our youth within that segment. Over 42 million youth are in that segment. And their issues stem from a couple of things. Number one, it stems from something called behavioral health in the way that they participate, respond to their communities. And we're finding out that our children are living in a time where they're told what beautiful is. They're told where they can be accepted. So there's a lot of pressure in becoming an individual because everything out there is telling you what you should be and should do. And so that's where we see a lot of the issues. A lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-worth are part of the issues that you have.
It's interesting to me because I think no matter what generation you come from, self-esteem, self-worth, confidence, even crosses age barriers, obviously, but especially when we're young, those are things that we're trying to develop.
Exactly.
But it's like you said, with each generation, there's different pressures that affect those pressure points within us. And right now, with information being like it is, so accessible just at our fingertips, literally.
Exactly.
And they're constantly giving these messages. So that's definitely a huge issue. How, as a parent of some of that generation, do we help to counteract those negative messages?
I think that we can't really counteract them because number one, you can't legislate love. Number two, you can't be with them 24 hours a day.
Right.
But I find that a lot of our youth are facing pervasive issues because they don't have a strong enough family unit. Mm-hmm. And I think within that, when we get back to family wholeness and family wellness and listening and learning from each other, I think that it gives our youth an ability to choose what it is they want to do, having the background and support of that family, as opposed to not having it, not feeling it, and then get out in a world that you don't understand, and the criteria is there. You didn't meet the one at home. Now you got to deal with the one that's in front of you, and it separates them and puts them even further away from family.
Yeah.
And the further you get away from family, the less support you feel about yourself.
It's the anchor.
Absolutely, it is an anchor. I think we need that. The generation that we're in now is it's such a generation that with that what we call the millennials, they're dealing with self-esteem as never before, because everything everywhere is telling them what they should be and should be like. And if you're not that, then you're not cool. If you're not that, then you're not pretty. You're not attractive. You're not acceptable. And I think that's a lot of pressure on our youth.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because in this day and age of information, it's so great that we have it at our fingertips, but at the same time, the negative aspects of this, they're also, the negative messages get to us a lot faster and easier too.
Yeah, well, when we come along in my day, and that's been a while, but but we come along in my day, even though you didn't have everything there, you go find it if you were looking for it one way or the other. But I think the accessibility and the quickness of getting it simply predisposes our youth to it more quickly, and the mass amount of information very quickly, and not having enough experience to make the judgment calls is part of the issue as well.
How are you seeing this affect the young people that you see? What is your experience with that?
With the young people, I can even go back to my own children and know that they know that they could come to me at any time, and they've been taught to be strong and independent. And so a lot of times they don't come to me and they'll mess up. And I'll find out, I'm saying, why don't you come to me? Well, Dad, I was really trying to handle it myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that it affects our kids. I think they're affected by several things. I think, when Dad is not there, I think they're affected. I think when the family is fragmented and broken, I run into young people that just needed a dad. And so most of the young people I run into, they have fragmented homes, and I think that's what starts at. And all of the young people I run into, I try to mentor them, I try to father them, I hang around them. I'll even get on the phone and I'll text them, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Like, why, this old dude, why is he, But I think more of us need to do that so that we can help them. But my experience has been, listen to them and find out what's going on. Some of them are very young, at 19, 20. They're in marriages that they don't know how to manage. And I love to be able to do that, because I found out that they don't have the right skill set to do that, nor enough experience or enough dedication and commitment to what they've just assigned themselves to.
Oh, my goodness. That is a scary thought, right?
It is scary. It's scary.
It is. And so then that's when sometimes, unfortunately, those fragmented families can take place, is if they don't have they're not equipped. They don't have the tools to be a strong anchor and to build that strong family unit. So for teenagers, for youth, young, 20-somethings out there who come from those families, where can they find that anchor in society? Obviously with the young people that are in your life, they know that they can count on you. But for those of us out there, how can some of us be that for others, and where can young people go?
I think that the mindset should be, first of all, to recognize that you do need help, because sometimes when people are out there in the middle of life's ocean and they're struggling, the inclination to reach out and say, I need some help, never really occurs to them, even though they're screaming for help at the same time. I've had people come through our system who come to our CDC for counseling. They come to our CDC. We do classes on life skills. We teach them skill sets, communication skill sets, how to get in relationships and not look for, not put expectations, not turning preferences into demands. And we teach that at the CDC. So the CDC is one place that I know that we've seen people at the end of classes come back and really hug us and say, this has really been great. All the way from professional people to you name it have come through some of our classes. And so you can come to the CDC. That I do know. We've been effective at doing that. But not only that, there are other places that people can pick up the phone and call for help. The main thing is, okay, if I need help and I don't see it, go look for it. Find somebody that can help you, because it's not going to change itself. The progression of it is going to continue to be the same.
You're not alone. It's not the first time someone's
That's-
had this problem. Someone else has been there before.
Absolutely. That's key.
Yeah.
Now you're counseling me. This is good. This is good.
No.
Because that's what I tell them. You listen, you're going through this, and you're going through this, and I understand you're only 21 years old, but you're going through this marriage, and you don't understand why you're going through stuff. Listen, you're not the first one.
Right.
You know, just lock it down, and hey, we can get through this. And think about your children as well.
Sure.
Because children get divorced too.
It's true. That's
Yeah.
so true, and it definitely affects them.
Yeah.
It definitely affects them. So for those who want to come and take the classes, they don't know where to go. They're in a tough place, and they're watching today, and they want somebody to help them teach me how to communicate, teach me how to be in a healthy relationship, teach me what it's supposed to look like to be a functioning adult. What website can they go to?
They can go to DallasCDC.org. That's www.dallascdc.org.
Okay.
And you can log on there and you can see the number of things that we do, all the way from, helping kids in the school systems, and go to the section where it says counseling, where it says classes, and you can go there, and a counselor will pick up the phone number's there as well. There are additional emails, addresses that you can email and request information. Just a wealth of resource there at the CDC where you can get that help.
So you have counselors, you have classes.
Absolutely.
There is a wealth of information.
Absolutely.
And there's help.
If we can't help you, we can point you in the right direction.
And I think that's really good for people to know who are watching today, who maybe they're in a tough situation and they're like, well, is there a hotline for that? Probably not, but there is. They can call you and you can tell them where to go.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's good to know, because
Absolutely.
it can feel very overwhelming when you're entering that age
Yeah.
of leaving, childhood to adulthood. Who do I talk to? Who do I turn to?
Right. Exactly.
How do I do this thing called life and be an adult?
It is tough. I am glad that I'm not a teen again. I don't think I could do it again. But our youth, they represent so much in the futuristic makeup of our country. So we got to find a way to help them.
So for parents watching and people who work with youth and young people, what advice would you give them today?
I think, number one, listen to them. I think they need to hear. Some of our classes are interesting because we'll mix some of our young adults or some of our youth with adults. And some parents said, no, you can't put them with other teens. I said, they're not upset and mad at other teens. They're mad at adults. And believe it or not, there are parents who actually will start relying on that particular teen to help explain to them why they have such a disconnect with their teen. It's powerful. And then the teen actually talks to that adult more than they'll talk to their own mother and father, because communication has gone down. Communication is the first thing that leaves a relationship. When the communication leaves, everything. And so now they're starting to communicate with this parent that they don't know. Now they form the bond, and at the recess of the class, they're still talking because they're learning something from each other. I think we need to learn something from each other. I think we can.
I think that's great that you put them together, because we can learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And there might be a light bulb moment one of those kids has or adult has that says, that's what I'm doing with my child that I need to do different, or this is how I can get into my dad's heart or my mom's heart for them to understand.
Right.
So wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
We all need some more of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Before we go today, what would you like people to know about the CDC?
Well, we've been around for a long time, and we're working on all fronts of fragmentation of the human condition. I'd like for people to know that we're there. They can pick up the phone and call before things get too tough.
Yeah.
They can also just email. If you don't want to even use your name, you can email us. We're here for you.
Awesome. Dr. Robinson, thank you so much for what you're doing for our community, and thank you for being here to talk to me again today.
It's been great. See you next time.
Yes, definitely. Thank you all today for watching us here at Joy in Our Town.